Hey everybody, Jim here with another quick knife overview. I really don't want to call these reviews because I'm not really reviewing the product. I'm not going to give a whole list of pros and cons. I mean, I'll include some of those every now and then, but it's not going to be a structured thing like it's an actual review and telling you this product is worthy of buying or it's not. Obviously it's worthy of buying for me because these are all knives that I own, so I guess that's kind of self-explanatory. I'm going to try and make this one a little bit shorter in duration than the previous one that went well over 20 minutes, and my God, it takes like 2 hours to upload that to YouTube. So what we're going to do is we're going to be looking today at the Brous Blades Silent Soldier folder. There it is right there, Brous Blades. You can take a look at Jason Brous's entire line over at brousblades.com or check him out on Facebook. He tends to put a lot of his sneak peeks and prototype stuff on his Facebook page before it's going to hit his website. So that's always a good place to keep up with what he's doing. Quick little backstory. I had discovered Brous Blades a few months before this was released. This was his first production folding knife. Until then, he'd only done fixed blade knives. And it was through Brian Ty's channel. I've been friends on Facebook with Brian for a couple of years. Talked to him a few times on the phone. Fantastic guy. Ordered a custom from him. And I had seen Jason on his little friends list there. And I was intrigued by the knife that I saw in the profile picture. So I clicked over to it, and the guy just does really out-of-the-box, wicked, sinister, aggressive kind of designs. And because he's a younger guy and a younger person in the industry, just kind of up and coming, his prices really aren't out of line. As a matter of fact, you know, as evidenced by this, his prices are sometimes a little bit too low. And I gotta wonder in the back of my mind if that may be even kind of holding him back a little bit. And a knife like this, he's charging $279 for. And while on the surface, just looking at it like this, that kind of seems appropriate. But when you really dig into the knife like we will here in a few minutes, in my opinion, he could have gotten easily at least another $100 for it for the quality displayed in the manufacturing of this particular knife. And I think we're going to hopefully start seeing his prices go up a little bit on the future models that he releases, just to kind of show that he's worthy of getting into people's collections. I mean, when you start talking $200–300 knives, you know, that's a different level for a lot of people. That's kind of where a lot of people begin. And I don't want anybody to mistake and think that this is in any way a beginner's level knife. It's a good entry level price point, but you're actually getting into a nice mid-level for a tactical style folder. And again, we'll talk about that in a few minutes. So once I found out he was going to be producing this knife, I contacted him. I said, I want one of the very first ones you produce right out of the gate. I'm willing to pay in advance before it even comes out. And of course, you know, he's not that kind of guy. He's like, well, when they're ready, you know, then just go ahead and purchase it. So they became available. I bought it right away. And I made one request on mine that you're not going to see as standard. What he does on the standard Silent Soldier flippers is he puts the belt clip up here for tip down carry. Now, I'm the kind of person, I really don't like tip down carry. As a matter of fact, I will avoid a knife purchase altogether in almost every instance unless it's a tip up carry. I'm just one of those kind of guys. I don't want to grab my knife from my pocket, get it out, and then have to reposition it, holding it loosely in some fashion, to reposition it, to get it in my hand, then deploy it, and then have it ready. I find it slow, I find it cumbersome, and you know, the more steps you put into anything, the more likely there can be a mistake made. So I like tip up carry. That way, when it's being carried in the pocket, my hand is going all the way around it. When I pull it out, all I'm doing is deploying it, and that's it. So for me, it's a lot faster. It makes a lot more sense. Again, I'm not some commando. I'm not out there having to protect my life every single day and draw some sort of weapon on a regular occasion. I just want something that's convenient, and you know, leave all the tactical stuff to either the professionals that are doing tactical things or the mall ninjas that you'll find on the internet that will tell you how important it is for every teeny tiny little thing to fall into place. And listen, it's a knife. I'm probably not going to reach for this to save my life. That's what the pistol is for. Pistol don't work. This is your oh shit backup. That's just the way it is. Otherwise, it's really fun for cutting open boxes and stuff like that. So always have a knife at my ready. So let's talk about The pricing and construction, I think, is just, they don't make sense. And like I said, when I first got it, I was blown away. One of the things that you just can't get a feel for in pictures is just how thick this knife is. Because you got to realize this is a 2.7-inch blade with a 2.1-inch cutting surface on a Wharncliffe style blade. Spine arches down beautifully down to the tip. I love the swedge up here that he's done on both sides. It really adds something, I don't know, it's sexy. It's got this really cool artistic look to what is really a basic type of tactical knife. This is not an art knife. This is not a presentation grade knife, but he's done a couple little things like this that really make it, you know, different and cool. So anyway, it's a very stout little knife. It's very, very thick, so it really fills the hand when you're holding it. And, you know, I do have a few very slim knives, and I appreciate them for the times that I'm going to carry them for that reason. But otherwise, I want a knife that's going to fill my hand and actually feel good in the palm of my hand. I've got no hot spots from the clip when I'm holding it in my hand, and that's a testament, again, to how well he manufactures things. This was done on the fly. His clip for the standard knives is completely different. It's got an arm that goes all the way around the pivot, and then it comes down the side of the carbon fiber scale. This is a completely different clip. He literally just kind of dug it up and made it work and modified it to whatever degree to make it work for me as the very first tip-up Silent Soldier folder. And it worked out great. And again, it's just curved just enough. It's got just enough tension to where it's held into my pocket securely. I don't feel like it's going to go flying out when I'm riding the motorcycle or anything. And it's not swept up so much for clearance into the lip of the pocket that it's going to dig into the palm of my hand. So again, just very, very, very nicely done. So it's a nice, thick feel. You've got the one standoff here that's actually going to be, let me just kind of partially close that. I don't know if I can quite, well, let's zoom in just a little bit there. And you can see that's actually going to be your blade stop. And that's what's going to prevent the blade from just slamming and screwing up the pivot and everything else. So he's got a nice stop built in there. Back spacer with the laser etching of the Brous blades on there. Again, it's simple. It's a nice satin finish. It's not overdone. It's, you know, it's not some kind of decorated spine or anything. No file work. But again, it's not a presentation grade knife. This is going to be a daily carry tactical knife that you're going to beat up. You're going to cut stuff with. You're going to get muddy and dirty and nasty. And it really does feel like you can live up to that type of lifestyle. When we take a look here, you see that the blade is perfectly centered. Now again, this is not a 100% hand-built custom, so a lot of times we take this for granted. You know, yes, there are mid-techs and production knives out there on the higher end that you do expect this from. You know, you spend a good chunk of money, $300, $400, $500 for a production or mid-tech knife, you expect that. But we're talking again at $279, and the product that comes out of his shop is as close to flawless as can reasonably be expected. So the other thing about this that you want to be aware of if you're looking at buying one, this is not your traditional flipper. Traditional flipper, you're really going to rock back on that flipper, and doing that on this knife does almost nothing. I mean, even if I really throw myself into it, it does almost nothing. What you're actually going to do with this, it's more of a plunger style. You're actually going to be pushing down on it like a button. And even rocking forward a little bit, but straight down. And see, even there, if you're not really on it, you're going to have to condition yourself for it. It's not an inconvenience. It's not something I would put in, you know, doing a pros and cons list. It wouldn't go in the con column. It's just something that you do have to adjust to. You have to, you know, really be conscious of how you're pushing that you're actually going to give it that extra little snap that it needs. Now, the other thing, when people see pictures of it, they assume the giant hole in the blade is like a Spidey hole. And yes, you actually could open up the knife with it, but you'll notice it's so big your thumb wants to fall through it, and it's going to cause you to fumble around on it. What that's actually intended for, it's intended for your finger to go through so that when you're using the knife, let's say you are using in a self-defense capacity, nobody's really going to be able to disarm you. It's going to be very difficult to disarm you. Even if they break your grip, it's still hanging onto your finger if you're able to keep your finger looped around it. So it's a much more secure way of handling the knife. Again, you know, quote unquote tactically. It's just a nice extra little feature. And again, this comes off of the original Silent Soldier. That basically, look at the original Silent Soldier. It's a fixed blade. It's nothing but one single piece of metal. There's no handles, anything else, just one piece of metal and two holes. And it's meant for you to hold in a variety of holds with two fingers. So he brought that over. Even though you have a big handle now that you're wrapping your fingers around, you've got this as well. You could hold it like a normal knife, that's fine. It's going to be a little bit short. I don't have really monster paws, but it's going to be a little short that way. But it will give you a little bit of additional reach that way. Otherwise, you're going to hold it just like this. The flipper works great as a finger guard to keep, if you did have to stab into something, and there is enough of a point here that it actually will pierce very, very, very well. You know, a lot like a tanto blade. It's going to go straight in, and it gets much, much broader and thicker. It's going to create quite the wound channel, and it's going to prevent your fingers from slipping up and sliding down the blade, which would be the worst possible thing. The jimping up here is phenomenal. It is hard jimping, so do keep that in mind. You do have the hard edge on there, but it's great. It's not uncomfortable at all, but when you grip down on it, you are locked into that blade. Your thumb isn't going to go anywhere, and you'll see that as evidenced right there. You see how it just digs right into your flesh very, very well. So overall, it's a nice, thick, chunky feel. Like I was mentioning before, it's a great feel in the hand. It's a little weighty for what it is because, again, you've got a lot of steel here. He's using D2 tool steel for the blade, so it's going to hold an edge very well. It's also going to be very easy to resharpen when that time comes. His grind is really nice, very, very precise. This knife was razor sharp as I received it. And again, at that price of $279, you're going to see little areas where a knife maker is going to fail just a little bit. And sometimes it's going to be in the quality of their grind. It's going to be in the sharpness of the delivered blade out of the box. Little things like that. I've had no issues whatsoever. See if we can get in just a little bit closer here. Look at the lockup. Now, this knife has been used consistently since the day I got it. I would have to guess I've had this at least 6 months now. And I flip it a lot. And the one thing, it used to have lockup right here at somewhere around 25% or so. But now when I really give it a good flip and it locks on over, you see it goes well, well over. That's not anything I'm concerned about, and it's certainly a very, very solid lock. I would have absolutely no problems at all having any worries about this thing folding up on me at any point. And as you see, even on the interior, clean finish work all the way through. My knife is a little bit dirty. All I did was just run a little bit of compressed air through it before I turned on the camera, so it didn't look, you know, too ghetto. But, you know, nice clean finish work throughout the entire knife. His carbon fiber is actually really, really nice. He contours it nicely, so it fits perfectly in the hand. In every respect, I would tell you this. If somebody came out with a very big, recognizable name and had it stamped on the blade of this knife, or on, in this case, on the backspacer of the knife, and they charged $500 for this knife, people would still be lining up. They would be sold out immediately. It would be one of those knives that everybody talked about. Oh, do you remember when that knife came out? I'm glad I got one. Oh, I suck because I missed out on it. Jason put this out at $279. They have pretty much almost sold out at almost every dealer I know of. I know he sold out on the allotment that he was selling directly off of his website. Many websites like Blade HQ and whatnot, they're sold out. I would say there's probably 5 or 6 dealers. If you really look, you'll still be able to find one. Then he did an all blacked out version. And the all blacked out, again, obviously it's very easy to tell. I like all blacked out things. The blacked out version was really super cool. Those seem to have sold out immediately. I have not seen one of those since maybe 2 or 3 weeks after it was released. So he's enjoyed great success with this. He's getting ready to release another couple of flippers. He just did an incredible collaboration with Mikkel Williamson. And I got to tell you, it's called The Reloader. Go to his website, check it out, get on the pre-order list, because everything he's doing, he's going up a level and up a level in quality. And again, I don't really think you could improve much on this, but he's going up a level and up a level. So he's going to have that available soon. He has one called the Divine Flipper that'll be out many months from now. That's super exciting. I've seen it. It's an incredible monster-sized knife. But something that's a little bit more related to this, he's getting ready to release, excuse me, a titanium frame lock version of this same knife. So you're going to have your carbon fiber on this side, and then you're going to have all titanium here with a titanium lock bar. Very excited to see that. His prototype has a very dark tumble stonewash finish on the blade. I don't know if they're going to deliver like that. That's a question, obviously, much more suited for the maker than for me. I hope he does do it because I think it really enhanced the look of the knife a lot, make it look, I don't know, a little bit tougher. So if you're looking for something that's small, that's very secure in the hand, that's going to be, honestly, a whole hell of a lot of fun to kind of play with, it's going to be a conversation piece, you really want to consider one of these for yourself. I think it's a fantastic investment, something that you don't have to be afraid about carrying every single day. I've had absolutely zero blade play, and again, I've carried this a lot. I have flipped it probably 100 times a day, and I have absolutely no issues with it whatsoever. It's held up fantastic, and I think for the dollars that you're spending, I'd be hard-pressed to tell you anything in this type of genre that would do you any better. So go check him out, brousblades.com. Super great guy. If you get a chance to talk to him, do so. He's a super phenomenal guy. And the way I look at it is you're getting in on the ground floor of a brand that I think is going to really explode. You give this guy another 5 years and he is going to be up there. You know, he's going to be every bit as revered as somebody like maybe Kirby Lambert or, you know, knife makers of that ilk, the younger crowd that are putting out innovative designs and not charging an arm and a leg for it. So if you're looking on getting it on the ground floor, this is a great brand to do it with. Brous Blades, super cool knife. Enjoy.